For most of my life, being seen didn't feel like a gift, but it felt like a huge risk. Some of us didn't learn to hide because we were shy, but we learned to hide because it was safe. It was safer than being seen, because being seen could mean being criticized or being judged or feeling envy from other people that will try to actively shut us down or slow us down. And I want to share my story in this episode, and I want to tell you an amazing thing that happened actually, and how I sort of am learning to overcome this fear. So let's start at the beginning. So as you might know, I come from, you could say Eastern Europe. I come from Czech Republic, but from like the very east, very close to Poland, very close to Slovakia. And geopolitically, it's Eastern Europe. Basically, the mindset and the culture is a little bit different than in Denmark. Surprise, surprise. So when I moved to Denmark, actually, I had a cultural shock, because when I was growing up in my own country and first starting with my art career, as I was studying toy design and trying to be an artist, you know, the mindset of people is a bit different, obviously, because the culture is a bit different, right? And I think it comes from the past of my culture. Like, being seen was generally not safe, if you think about it. Like, if you imagine being in a communism or socialism, living in a political system where, unless you favor the party, it's very dangerous for you to be seen, and protesting can literally kill you or put you in jail. So it's really, really safe to be sort of neutral. It makes sense that this mindset sort of still prevails in the society, even in the deepest layers of our brain and mindset, you know. And it's something that I've learned very early on, and I never questioned it. I never questioned it because that's just how I grew up. That's just normal, right? It's safer to live your safe life, you know, live according to the book, go study school, get a job, get a family, enjoy your free time, enjoy your life in that sense, in the small things, which on one hand is actually really beautiful, because it's not to say that you shouldn't have aspirations or dreams or goals, but it is beautiful to also still be able to sort of focus on the little things and appreciate that you have a family, and appreciate that you can, I don't know, have dinner with your family, or have a garden that you can take care of, or have a hobby that you enjoy and a community of people that you love. So of course, in that sense, it's beautiful. But in terms of building a career, it's kind of scary, because in the back of your mind, it always feels like, oh my God, the better I'm doing, the more visible I am, obviously. And the more visible I am, the more sort of out in the open I am, the more in danger sort of I am. Because more people sees me, maybe more people will envy me, people can report me, people can spread gossip about me and ruin my life, basically. And that was completely the story in the back of my mind that I grew up with. And I think that was completely what was slowing me down as an artist and as a creator entrepreneur in my career. Because I kept believing, not even telling myself, but I kept believing that the more visible I am, the less people will like me, and the harder it's going to be for me to succeed. And then, fast forward a couple of years, I moved to Denmark, where people think differently again, I think because of the history. And honestly, I think Denmark is in many ways very good for my nervous system, especially when it comes to like being seen and trying to make it. I remember the first time, like the first couple of years that I lived in Denmark, it was even hard for me to genuinely believe that people are so nice and so like trying to help you and support you and genuinely care about what you're doing, you know? Because in my country, it always felt so much like transactional and very much like I do a favor for you, so you do a favor for me. And maybe I care because I like you on a personal level, but there was no sort of so much genuine curiosity for what you do as an artist or a human that I see in Denmark. And I think slowly I started rewiring my brain, and I've realized, you know, people are not against you. People are not, I think most of the time, trying to put you down. So please try to tell yourself a different story. I think that's where the biggest switch happened for me, because I realized, you know, actually this is just a story happening in my own mind. And I am actually my own biggest enemy. And you hear people talk about it everywhere on the internet, right? Like, you are your worst critic and you are your own enemy and all that. But what happens if you become your own cheerleader? Oh my God, I can't pronounce that word. If you become your own cheerleader and supporter, but not just in a way that you keep telling yourself every day in the morning in the mirror, hey girl, you got this and you're amazing and believe in yourself. No. What if you start believing that people actually want the best for you and that people are actually not your enemies, and that, you know, that you start believing that people actually have good intentions for you and they wish you well and they want to see you succeed and they want to see how your story will develop to the better, to the best possibilities. What if that is actually the reality and you've been actually just putting up walls your whole life to protect yourself because you've been so scared of being disappointed by people or being hurt by people, that you've put up this very thick wall around yourself, believing that people actually don't like you, or maybe people don't want you to succeed. But what if that's not the reality? What if you start telling yourself a different story? Because I genuinely think, and this is my own perception, that it's better to put these walls down and believe in the best possible intentions from others and believe that people actually like you for who you are and people want to see you succeed. And keep your boundaries, of course. Be aware of, okay, I keep my boundaries if they cross them, and people will cross them because that's human, that's life. But you still allow yourself to feel everything. Isn't it better? Because I think it's very easy to genuinely jump to the conclusions that, like, for example, I will give you a real life example, what happened to me the other day and what happens to me very often. So I organize a lot of events, and sometimes, most of the time, I make a Facebook event and then I add the venues where I host my event as collaborators, or I make like a post on Instagram, I reshare it to my stories, I tag the venue so they also share, right? Because it helps exposure, it helps my events. But I've been telling myself this story my whole life, that if they don't automatically reshare, it's because they didn't want to. Or if they don't automatically accept my invitation to collaborate on that event, it's because they don't want to. It's because maybe they don't like the aesthetic, or maybe they just want to make it harder for me, which is so stupid. It's so stupid. I'm gonna say that. And it's not to say that my old self was stupid. I love that girl so much. And I'm genuinely kind of sad for how she was thinking. But I'm glad I've realized that this is just a trap that I've built for myself. I was not building beautiful walls around myself to build a castle. I built a prison for myself with this mindset. Because I don't think this is true. And it's very important to realize it, because I think when you look at it from the, more zoomed out perspective, you realize, and I'm going to talk more about this in the next episode, that a lot of these places and venues, the structure is not built for people to be held. It's, they're not doing it on purpose. And people don't hate you. People don't hate you. They don't reshare your events because they hate you or because they don't want you to succeed. It's simply because maybe they are too busy. Imagine how many notifications these places must get every day. If they have thousands of subscribers on their social media, of course the event is gonna get lost. And of course you need to remind yourself to them. But it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you're less worthy of doing an event there, or that they don't care or they don't want you to succeed. That's just simply the structure, unfortunately. And yes, maybe if it was your friend, it would be different. But this is an organization. This is a structural issue. It's social media. It's not a human connection in that sense, So of course the notification just get lost. And I think genuinely they will be happy that you remind them, hey, can you please reshare? Or hey, can you please accept the invite to collaborate on this event? Because I think people want to help you genuinely and they want to support you. But it's also something I've realized after I moved to Denmark, where you can truly feel it. Or at least that's my experience. I genuinely felt supported, like on a personal and professional level. I feel like people genuinely want to help and want to see you grow, which is still so strange for my brain, because in my country, from my experience, I felt like so much envy and so much gatekeeping. And here I don't really feel it as much. Of course, I think it exists everywhere on a certain level, but I'm so genuinely grateful that I don't feel it so much. So please, please realize which story you're telling yourself in your own mind and try to rewrite it, because the only person you're hurting with that story is yourself, and the only person that you can help with that story is yourself and others also. Because isn't it better to assume the best about people until they disappoint you and prove you differently than thinking that they hate you from the beginning and never even give them the possibility to meet you? Just think about it. And I think I'll end the episode right here and leave you some food for thoughts. And I look very much forward to see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this one and that you will also manage to change your mindset in this way and put down some of the walls that you might have built up over the years. Okay. That's it from me. Have a beautiful start of the day, start of the week, and I will see you in the next episode of Artist Mindset.